Hey guys, Kirk McDowell here, Earthquake University. This is a training video for distinctions in listening. Okay, so here we go. So this is listening at the level of like transformational leader, transformational coach. In other words, this is how to listen if you have a commitment that that someone's future is about to alter. You know, like people are in life with the futures that they have. So what I mean is, if you look at your life, like you could pick an area of your life, like say career, for example. There's a predictable future there in your career. If you kind of keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep having what you have, right? So there's a predictable future that you have in every area of your life. If you just kind of look at what you have and kind of keep doing what you're doing and you keep having what you have, it's all going to kind of have like a little flow to it, right? So that would be an uninterrupted future, right? Sort of a patternistic in general. What, you know, things have a tendency to keep going the way they're going, okay? So that's the pattern, that's the drift, if you will, right? But if you're a coach, you might consider yourself as an interruption to the drift, right? Like as a coach, what I am literally is a pattern interrupt. Like I am an interruption. So, when I peaceful and loving most of the time, but I don't just go up to a conversation and just flow with the river, right? That's not, it's essentially not what I am, right? What I am is an interruption. So how to be that interruption, like how there is to interact with another individual, comes from what you hear and what you don't hear. When I first interacted with transformation in the late 90s, I was at a big weekend event, 97, I think. And the leader was amazing and he was talking about a number of things. But one thing I noticed is he had an answer for every off-the-wall thing that came at him. And let me tell you, there was stuff coming at him. And he was completely poised, calm, didn't need to, read a manual in his head. Like he was just like right there, present, real time, really generative, difference-making responses to all this stuff coming at him from like 200 people. And I was blown away. Like I knew enough to know that was something that I couldn't do. I had already accomplished quite a bit in business. I was in my late 30s, and mid to late 30s, whatever, 37, 36. I had done lots of business training, right? Training in negotiating and selling and leadership and that sort of thing. And I knew a lot about public speaking and presenting and that kind of stuff, being persuasive and that. But everything I had learned was somewhat linear in nature, right? When this happens, do that. When that happens, don't do this, and like that, right? So you have to learn a lot of situations and multiple responses to each situation and why would you choose one over the other. And it's all beautiful and it was very useful for me and I was very effective. But it was linear, right? There was a 1 and a 2 and a 3. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4 is very linear in nature. But this was different. What I began to see very quickly is there's no way he could be that fluid in the conversations in a linear format. You're just not quick enough to, all these different things are coming at you from directions. You can't, play a chess game with every question. There's just not enough time and mental muscle for that. So it was something else. And in fact, it took me years to kind of really dial it in, but there is something else, and here it is, right? It's what there is to say comes from what you hear and what you don't hear. So just let that settle in for a moment. You're in a conversation, you're in a situation with someone, and you're looking for that thing to say, right? But where the answer to that question comes from is what you heard, either in the moment or what you heard previously from training or preparation or getting yourself centered or meditating or whatever, right? So, but what there is to say to make the difference comes from what you hear, right? Now, not from memorizing a whole bunch of really clever things to say, because you've met the person that has a lot of clever things to say and they're saying them all the time, but they're never really saying them at the right time or in the right way. It's not really relevant to what's going on, right? So this is not that. This is something different. This is hearing what there is to hear, to say exactly what there is to say and how to say it and when to say it and so forth, right? Pretty awesome, right? If you were in the difference making business, this would be of interest to you. Like, how do you know what to say and when to say it and how to say it? Okay. So this is actually an answer to that question. One more piece before we go there. And there's an obstacle, and the obstacle is how human beings listen. Okay. How human beings listen does not lend itself to being an interruption and making the difference there is to make, right? So how human beings naturally listen does not lend itself to interrupting patterns and making a difference, right? And here's why. People listen from something I call survival listening. So people listen for something very specific, and just notice that you'll hear yourself in this, right? People listen for, do I agree or disagree? Is this right or is it not right? How does this affect me? Is this good or is this bad? Have I heard this before? Is this useful to me in some way, right? So people listen like that. Now, if you're listening to a conversation for, how does this impact me? Is this good? Do I agree? That pulls for very specific kinds of responses. And they're the kind of responses and the kind of conversations that you hear all the time, right? Two people being right about something. Oh, I know this thing. No, you got it wrong. I know this thing. La 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 la. Or somebody complains. Oh, this thing. La la la. Oh, yeah. Oh, la la la. Oh, la 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 la. Right? Because people are listening. People like, in addition to the other things I say people listen for is like, how can I use this? How is this useful? So if someone complains and this person, you want their favor for something, they're your boss, for example, right? Oh, yeah, so you agree, right? So there's just this inauthentic dance that people do in communication where essentially no one's listening, or no one's listening the way they say they are, right? Everybody's listening for what's in it for them, essentially, right? And I'll talk about why that is in just a moment. There's like a science to it. Nobody's really listening for what's possible, how can I be of service, except in the rare occasions that they do, but the exceptions kind of prove the point. Like, if you can think of an example that happened last month, that's kind of my point, right? In a whole month, there's like one occasion, right? So, or, there's this really good person who's always listening that way. Okay, great. Well, they've done some work, right? But most people, most of the time, and this is absolutely you, in case you're trying to get yourself out of it, listen for their own interests, their own survival, if you will. Now, here's why people do that. Genetically and evolutionarily speaking, like behaviorally speaking, right? Being in discord or in disagreement with your tribe or your family is a death sentence. It's not inconvenient. It doesn't make me feel bad about myself. It doesn't, no, it's a death sentence. So, a few 100,000 years ago, when human beings were hunter-gatherers, which is, by the way, evolutionary speaking, by far the largest amount of our time. So the largest amount of time as human beings was spent as hunter-gatherers. So a lot of our psyche and emotional makeup and physical makeup is all about that, right? So if you're in a hunter-gatherer society and you're in discord with your tribe and they banish you, like, go, right? That's a death sentence. A human being by themselves can't really survive out in the wilderness, right? Human beings survive in tribes, in groups. You've got all these different things that need to happen to keep human beings alive. So a person by themselves is probably going to starve to death or get eaten by a predator, right? So it's not just an inconvenience when you're banished. It's not an inconvenience when all of your family is in discord with you and they don't want to talk to you anymore. That's not just an inconvenience, that's literally death. Like, literally, not metaphorically, not figuratively, literally death, right? So that's why people will go crazy when you disagree with them, right? Have you noticed, like, sometimes I'll be in a conversation with somebody and I'll disagree with them about something, and they're just like getting unhinged. And I'm like, I don't even understand why my agreement is so important to them. It's not even that important to me. Why do they care so much? Well, if you kind of peel the onion, wind it back a little bit, people need your agreement. They need to control you. They need to control situations. That from a fear response, right? They don't want to get their ticket canceled. They don't want to be ostracized by the group, banished by the tribe, sent away by the family, right? That's a death sentence. So people will do just about anything, right, to keep that from happening. And what that looks like in our modern society is, getting people to agree with you and getting people on your team and getting them on board so they'll have your back and la 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 la. But that's just a bunch of controlling, trying to control people and controlling situations. By the way, if you've ever tried that, dicey business. Instead, what I recommend is listening as a creator, listening as a pattern interrupter, listening as the person who's going to make the difference in this conversation or in this situation. And here's what there is to listen for. It's 3 things, right? First, listen for the experience of the person that you're in a conversation with. Like, what is their experience? Are they peaceful? Are they angry? Are they agitated? Are they impatient? Like, just notice and take it in. You don't have to do anything with it. Just let it in. If you notice, most people in conversations are kind of like 2 TVs. They're blurting at each other, but no one's listening. So I'll bet in most conversations, you actually miss entirely the experience of someone, the emotional experience of someone, right? Which is, by the way, what they need to communicate mostly, right? So really dig in and notice the experience someone is in the middle of when you're with them, right? That's number 1. Number 2, notice what they're committed to, what's important to them, what are they trying to accomplish, what are they trying to communicate, right? Maybe a woman's talking to you and she's very agitated and very impatient. And then you notice what she's trying to communicate to you is her daughter is stuck under her car. She's trying to get your help, right? So experience, urgent, something's got to happen now. Something's terribly wrong. Great. What is it? Oh, I need help. Da 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 da. Boom. Right. Thirdly, notice what actually got said, right? In our too cool for school society where we're all really not paying attention to each other and kind of on our smartphones, sort of halfway in the conversation, halfway on our smartphones, we're not paying attention. We're not. When you're doing this, when you got your smartphone out and you're in a conversation, you're not paying attention, right? And if that triggers you, good. What did they say? What did they actually say? What were the words? What was the tone of voice? What was the body language, right? All very informative. Did they move across the room to you? Did they move across the room away from you? What is their body doing? What is their body language doing? What is their tone of voice doing? What words are they choosing? What tempo are they speaking at? What volume are they using? Is it dynamic? Is it very flat? Like, all that stuff is communicating, right? And you're missing it all when you're kind of like halfway in the conversation because you're listening for whether you agree or this is right or how does this impact you? How can you use this in some way, etc.? Is this going to impact my reputation? La 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 la. Right? So survival listening is the impediment to actually listening, to actually being there with another human being. If you want to be someone who makes a difference with another human being, you're going to have to upgrade how you listen. And specifically what I recommend is 3 things. Listen for someone's experience, listen for what they're committed to or what they're dealing with, and notice the actual words that are being used and how they're delivered, right? And what you'll get for your trouble is a very, very, very clear picture of where someone's at, what they're up to, what's important to them, what they're trying to communicate, and literally what they're saying, right? And by the way, if you're in the difference-making business, that's everything, right? And then when you listen like that and you got your own personal agenda out of the way, you actually have space. You can actually create. You can actually be there fully because you're not lobbying their opinion. You're not trying to massage the situation. You're not trying to do anything with them. So you can literally be there and take it all in. And that is when and where you can hear what needs to be said to make the difference, right? If you're a coach or you have some training, then you can rely on your training and being present and your best self speaking to make the difference you want to make and be the interruption that you're committed to being in the world. Being a coach, essentially. Okay, great. So I'm going to pause it right there. That's just coming up on 15 minutes. This training is meant to upgrade or cause a complete transformation in your ability to listen and hear what there is to hear to make the difference that you're interested in making as a coach or a transformational public speaker. Okay, great. Thanks a lot, guys.